Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy, and in today's video we're going to be testing writing softwares. So this is a follow-up to a video we did earlier in the year where I tried different writing softwares. In that video I tried drafting softwares, so in this video I'm going to be trying different planning softwares. So softwares that you can use to plan your novel. They're not all necessarily direct comparisons. The point of this video isn't to say that this is the best one or this is the worst one. I just wanted to try these different softwares, kind of get a feel for them, test out their different features, and kind of run down who I think these softwares would be useful for or not useful for. So the softwares in this video are Anvil, Wavemaker, the Novel Factory, Scrapple, and the Plot Factory. I didn't use any kind of rating system. Similarly to the last video, I found that for the most part I liked these softwares, I liked what they had to offer. So the point of this is more to talk about who I think they're going to work for, who I don't think they're going to work for. So that's all. I'll keep this intro brief and we can just jump into the reviews. So first up is Anvil. This is a very detailed world building software for novels or RPGs. Of course, I'm looking at it as a novelist. This software is really extensive, and to be honest, I don't really have a bad thing to say about it. Even the free version has more options and tools than I could ever need. And other than the free version, which I believe is free forever, not just a free trial, there are plans with more storage and more features ranging from $54 to $142 yearly. I also love that it gives you world building prompts to work from. Those just seem really fun and useful. You can do things like integrate maps, add interactive pins, link to other maps. It's kind of amazing. And there are tools here for basically all aspects of a fantasy world. I'm not a fantasy writer personally, so I was kind of just inputting random details. I actually did end up bringing in this really old map from a fantasy book I wrote when I was 18. The map is so old that I literally painted it by hand and scanned it, but you can use something like Incarnate to make one digitally and import that. I honestly don't really have any complaints about this software. The only thing to remember is that it is extremely detailed. If you're someone who loves very detailed world building, I think this is the perfect tool to make an interactive world building Bible where everything links together. You're essentially creating your world's own wiki. But it might be more than you need if you're a discovery writer or if your world is simpler. Personally, I will probably never actually use this software myself because I'm not a fantasy writer. And so I'm never really going to have the need for it, but I wish I'd had this back when I was writing fantasy. So next up is Wavemaker. Unfortunately, I was not too impressed with this software. It's a drafting and planning software, and I like that it integrates different templates. I choose one for Save the Cat here. But to me, the software itself felt a little clumsy, although I like it in theory. This sidebar shows up each time you switch pages and cuts off the side. It actually took me a while to realize this was something I could remove. The note card features aren't bad. There's nothing that special about them. I guess this is kind of like a free poor man's Scrivener, I guess. It does have several different ways of planning. You can go through the snowflake method, there are note cards, there's a timeline, a database, a grid, a mind map, which that feature didn't work for me. It was glitchy, I wasn't able to add anything. They're not bad features on their own. I actually like the idea of them and having all these different ways to plan out your book. The grid and the timeline could both be super useful, but I think with just how clumsy the software was and how sketchy the export features are, the formatting was super messy when I tried to export it to Word, which to me was a bit of a red flag because if I ever had to submit something as a Word doc, which is very common, I'd be left with really messy formatting. So because of those things, this wasn't my favorite, but it's also free, so it's worth checking out as an option. I saw a lot of positive reviews of it. So maybe it was just kind of glitchy on my operating system. I do have like the most recent Mac software at the moment. I just updated my computer, so it might have not been optimized for my current operating system, which might have been the issue. Next up is the Novel Factory. I really liked this software. It's very comprehensive, but very easy to navigate. I thought it was all very intuitive, and even as a first-time user, I didn't feel like I was, fumbling around looking for things. It was very clear and easy to use. Unfortunately, this one isn't free. The basic plan is $6.25 monthly, all the way up to a premium plan, which is $50 monthly, so pretty hefty price for 5 gigs of storage. So that's probably the biggest downside, in my opinion, is the price. So this software outlines a 15-step process for writing a book, which is meant for new writers to follow if they want guidance, but they do note that if you're a more experienced writer, or if their method doesn't work for you, you can totally jump around, which is really easy to do. I was jumping around because I just wanted to explore all the different features. This might be my only worry with the platform, that new writers coming to the software might think that the method that they outline is necessary, when the ordering of some of the steps is actually a bit odd to me. Like, they look at pacing, subplots, and motivation after the first draft, which is a bit strange. But just as a software itself, I loved it in terms of the features it had and how usable it was. I don't outline my books. Like I mentioned before, I am a discovery writer, but this honestly made me want to outline just because filling this out was so much fun, and it was so fun and easy to use and navigate. But despite being really easy, it's actually really comprehensive. The timeline tool is fantastic. The different parts of your outline are grouped together in a really intuitive way, and their outline tool has a bunch of templates for different structures or types of stories. So if you want to build a really in-depth interactive outline, or you're a new writer and you want a software that guides you through the process step by step, I think this one would be great. It's just a bit of an investment. My only complaint on the actual platform itself is that the text box that you draft in is really small, which I'm not personally a fan of. When I draft, I like it to be like full screen. I think it's kind of distracting to have so much stuff on the screen while trying to draft in this tiny little note card box, so I don't think I personally would enjoy that, but you could very easily draft in another word processor and paste it in, or just use this platform for the planning. So next up is Scrapple. This is $24 for a one-time purchase. It's made by Literature and Latte, who also do Scrivener. So this is kind of an extension of Scrivener, since you can import it to Scrivener. I didn't actually test that out, but they're made by the same people, so I would assume that that feature is pretty compatible and easy. So Scrapple is pretty simple in what it does and its design. It's a mind mapping app. You can create notes, then connect those notes to other notes, customize the types of connections and the appearance of the notes. It's a very simple concept executed very well. I found it very easy to use. As a writer, again, probably not something I'd personally use just because this isn't my brainstorming style. I've never in my life made a mind map, but I thought it was very easy to use, very intuitive. One problem I often have with these types of softwares is that they're meant to be a better alternative to brainstorming on paper. But the beauty of brainstorming on paper or mind mapping is you can kind of just get into a flow and just connect ideas without much thought to it. You don't have to put any thought into like the physical process of making the mind map. I find softwares designed for this purpose can be kind of finicky, that it takes away from the flow of brainstorming because you have to actually like go through all these steps to make the mind map and, you know, set up what you want the connections to look like. But this one is so simple to use, and that's what's nice about it. It really just has one function. If that's a function that you'd use, I would recommend it. If it doesn't fit your process, it's certainly not a necessary thing. So finally is Plot Factory. This is a very similar idea to Novel Factory. Like Novel Factory, it does require a subscription with plans between $9 and $19 a month. There was nothing I really disliked about this, but I think for something that does require a paid subscription, I wasn't super impressed. It's quite easy to navigate, but the planning features were nothing that special in my opinion, and on my free trial I couldn't even access a lot of them. I did really like the audio option. They make it so easy to listen to your story. This was my favorite aspect of the software. The audio didn't record, but it was really neat. On the page where you're drafting, you can just click play and it will read your novel out loud, and the voice is quite convincing. But there are limits to how much you can use this. So on their $9 a month subscription, you only get 1,000 words read per day, and then unlimited at $14. That was for sure the standout feature for me, but I do believe there is a way to do that in Microsoft Word if it's something you're looking for. So this is very similar to Novel Factory in concept. Personally, I much prefer Novel Factory in terms of actual tools and how functional the platform was, but I did prefer the drafting feature here. I would rather draft in Plot Factory than that tiny little note card that Novel Factory gives you. I would lean more to Novel Factory if you want to invest in something like this. I didn't really feel a draw to come back and use this one. I thought it was just too cluttered looking, and the features weren't worth the price. In the end, even if this were free, I probably still wouldn't use it, whereas if it were free, I would probably use Novel Factory. So they're very similar. If you're comparing the two, I'd lean towards Novel Factory. But again, if you're looking for a software of this type, they both have free trials, and it doesn't take that much time to take them both for a spin. That is it for this video. If there's a software you use to plan or outline that I didn't mention, please feel free to mention it in the comments so other people can see other alternatives. Or if you've tried any of these softwares yourself, please feel free to leave your thoughts on them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos from us. We've got new writing, editing, and publishing tips every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time, bye.